this afternoon, the Canadian. And if you're just joining us, look, this is one of 5 gold medals that are going to be decided this afternoon. We've got the women's individual C1, 2 and 3 pursuit this afternoon, the C4 pursuit, and then the men's individual B pursuit final as well. So the race-off for the gold, silver and bronze will all be happening this afternoon. But on the screen in front of us, Arnold Bolt from Canada. He made his international debut for cycling for Canada just in 2009, and that's, of course, after having such a fantastic career as a track athlete. So he began the sport at 2006, wanting to get back into top-level sport, and he was 48 years old when he first got into this track cycling. And while he's here, he'll be competing in the road race, the road time trial, as well as the C2 pursuit. But this is possibly the toughest track cycling event. So crucial to get a good start. As we were watching in the earlier sessions this morning, the start, it's more of an endurance event for the pursuit over the 3,000 metres for men and for women and 4,000 metres for men. But this, there is no room for error. As you can hear already, we're 3 laps into this 4-lap race. Arnold Bolt is a C2 category cyclist. The world record for his category is 1:16.497. As he powers to the line, that lactic burn will be hurting, an average of 46.569 kilometres an hour. So there's 28 competitors, but with everyone coming in at under a minute and a half quite easily, most cyclists will comfortably do that. We're actually going to whip through this afternoon pretty quickly, and then we'll be on to the individual pursuit medals in 4 different categories, 3 for women and 1 men's category. So Arnold Bolt, the factored time of 1:17.304. First cab off the rank, so we'll see how he stacks up with the rest of the field as the afternoon progresses. He finished 7th at the 2010 UCI Paracycling World Championships in the time trial. And he still holds the world record for the men's high jump in the F42 category, the record being 1 metre and 96 centimetres. Okay, here we go. Joseph Beri from the United States of America is rider number 2 today. He's wearing the number 76. Also has a packed program here in London. 2012 men's individual road race time trial, the C3 pursuit, this event, the 1 kilo, the kilo time trial, and he'll also take part in the team sprint. So that is a very, very busy program indeed. He's with the ABD cycling team in the US and coached by Craig Griffin, who is the national coach. And his goal here is to make the podium at the 2012 Paralympic Games in London. Joseph Beri, away he goes. He's a C3 category cyclist, so there will be a factor element in his time. Very quick acceleration to reach that top speed, and then the pain sets in, the lactic sets in. Test your will and your muscle and your power just to see how fast you can get around the track these 4 laps. So 250 metre track on the velodrome, that is an Olympic standard. And he's off to a fantastic start, just over almost 4 seconds in front of Arnold Bolt, who was the preceding rider. Lap and a half to go. Powering around the bend. So Joseph Beri, with the support of the crowd, and so many athletes have spoken this morning after the morning session about just how much the crowd has lifted them as he powers home down the final straight. 1:11.649. On the 9th of September 2008, hard to believe it was 4 years ago. Time has gone so quickly since Beijing and now to London, but not for many of these athletes. It's been 4 years of very, very hard work. So important to note that even the hometown athletes or the GB athletes, they're not the only ones getting enormous support here. A lot of the cyclists that competed this morning have said that the crowd really lifted them. Very thankful for such great support here at this velodrome. So the next athlete we have, it's officially called Heat 3, I guess, but really they're just cyclists riding individually, trying to beat each other. Victor Hugo Garrido Marquez is a C2 category rider from Venezuela. He's a pretty handy road racer. In 2010 and 2009, he won the Road World Championships in his category. But as we've seen throughout the day, a lot of track cyclists, particularly those who ride the Pursuit, which is more of an endurance track cycling event, are able to translate their skills to the road race as well. Very colourful frame he has on his bike here. Opted not for the solid disc rear wheel. Okay, it's important to get a good start and power away. We know that. Then we've got to reach the top speed and hold it for as long as possible. Garrido Marquez is a C2 rider. He's also run marathons, done duathlons and triathlons. And his club, his local club, is Bat Basque in Spain. He was the first Venezuelan to win a gold medal at the Road World Championships. And of course he won that title back-to-back in 2009 and 2010. So as you can see, this is fast and furious. It's really not going to take us long to get through our riders this afternoon. Okay, so we're coming up to the 750 metre mark. The burn would have well and truly set in by now. Garrido Marquez gritting his teeth, breathing through the pain as he rounds the final turn, powering down past that home straight. Okay, so we're just getting read out the factored time at this point, which is 1:18.089. So he's the third rider of the afternoon and he's in third place currently. So you will have seen his original time was 1:24.650, but with the factoring element that comes into it with his category, which is C2, his time comes down to 1:18.089. So if you're uninitiated with this, let's explain to you that this afternoon we've got the men's individual C1, 2 and 3 kilometre time trial. So the C1 category is the least able-bodied, I guess you would say, but the most severe disability. And then we move up to 2, 3. And 4 and 5 will not race. C4 and 5 will not race this afternoon in this time trial. So a big round of applause. The United States athletes have been extremely popular here. This is Anthony Zan. He's away. Clean start there. Races for Team Fuji in the United States. John Lehman is his coach. He made his debut in 2007 for the US. And at the Paralympics in Beijing, he came 3rd in the time trial. And he's had some success at the Road World Championships in that event as well. So remembering that the time that you're seeing on the bottom right-hand corner of your screen is not the factored time. We'll get that as soon as he's completed his 1 kilometre race. So we're at the halfway mark now. It says he's about 7.5 seconds off the pace. Dan started riding in 1990 when he was just 15 years of age. So rounding the final turn and down the home straight. He's gone the double disc wheel combination. So 1:33.547, the unfactored time. 1:23.312. So that's with the factoring element coming in, and that's put him in 4th place out of the 4 riders that have competed so far. Next up we have Nathan Smith from New Zealand. It's an interesting even spread of athletes this afternoon. So we've got representatives from New Zealand, Canada, Czech Republic, Korea, Belgium, a couple of riders from Germany and Spain, Australia, Russia, China, Argentina. Ireland and South Africa. So a really interesting mix. European countries in particular well represented this afternoon. China and Japan, as well as Korea, representing the Asian region. So this is Nathan Smith from New Zealand. He's Club is cycling New Plymouth in New Zealand, and his coach is Simon Finnell, who's the national coach. He made his debut in 2010 for New Zealand. And he's the older brother of New Zealand rugby union player Conrad Smith, for those rugby fans out there.
Go, Nate! Come on!
Plenty of support here for Nathan Smith, who also has a full complement ahead of him of cycling events, a very comprehensive schedule on the road and also on the track. He'll be in the mixed team sprint on the track as well. So 1 lap in, he's not far off the pace. That is an unfactored time. Nathan is racing in the C3 category. So no factor time will come into play here. So the time to beat is 103.082. He's well off that pace, but can he stay in touch with the leaderboard? Yes, he can. 1:16.159. That's enough to put him in second place. It's always such a challenge in a time trial if you're one of the earlier riders and you don't actually know what your other competitors are going to be capable of. So sometimes it's a blessing to go early and get your ride out of the way, but then it can be quite painful to sit around and wait and see what everyone else does. However, if you have to wait until later in the day, say if you're rider number 27 or 28, you've really got to keep those nerves in check and keep the focus on while everyone else gets out there and does their thing. You see the effort going in there on Nathan's face. So now we can introduce to you the next rider of the competition. This is Heat 6, Jay Millie from Canada, who came third in 2011 in Italy in this event, C1 1 kilo time trial. He's also managed to recover from a serious accident at the 2011 Canadian Road Championships. Here he is, Jay Millie. We have heard that throughout the day that a number of track cyclists have been involved in serious accidents and have then had to recover, but they've still made it here to compete. He's ready to go. And he's off, and the crowd is right behind Jay Millie. Being very well behaved, being quiet when they're being asked to be quiet, so that the cyclists can easily hear the starting gun and the countdown. So Jay Millie is a C1 rider, so there will be a factor that comes into his time, but already he's off to a brilliant start. The C1 world record is held by Rodrigo Fernando Lopez from Argentina, and he is the final athlete to be racing in this event this afternoon. Here he goes. Past the 750 metre mark, or coming up to the 750 metre mark rather, I should say. 1 lap to go. So about 4 seconds off the top rider, but don't forget we need to know what the factored time is. The focus is immense. The pain at this point will be immense. An absolute burn in the muscles as he powers down that home straight. So the raw time, unfactored time, enough to put him in 4th position out of the 6 riders, but let's wait and see. So the factor time, 1:17.631, so out of the middle count. So the fastest we've had so far is Joseph Beri from the United States. So he did it in 1:11.649. And he's a C3 category rider. The world record in that category is 1:08.668. And as I mentioned before, that was set in Beijing at the Paralympics 4 years ago. So now we have a Czech Republic rider, Michal Stark. Very big hello to our Czech viewers, wherever you might be watching. Mikhail Stark is one of our more senior athletes competing, but he's also a handy road racer as well. He likes the time trialling on the road. Won the Road World Championship. No, he didn't. He came third in the individual time trial at the Road World Championships in 2010. As for his track results, in Sydney, he competed in the Sydney Games. He won a bronze medal at the Paralympics in the 3 kilometre pursuit. He's also had some success at the Track World Championships as well. Mikhail Stark, he's away. Affectionately known as Gramps because he's the oldest member of the national team by far. He's based in Prague and rides with Dukla Praha. Also doubled up as a Winter Paralympian, skiing in the 1994 Games at Lillehammer. But here we go, he's on the bike now. Mikhail Stark is a C2 category rider, so there will be a discrepancy in the time that you see on the screen and the final time that he's awarded at the end of this 1,000 metres. Halfway mark, just under 4 seconds off the pace of the leader. Of course, Joseph Beri, the leader at the moment. You can see the efficiency in the technique. And really, I mean, there's not much to say about the tactics of a race like this. You've basically got to get to your top speed and hold it, and it hurts. Absolutely hurts. He'll be in a lot of pain right now, but he won't be thinking about that. He'll be thinking about getting to that line as quickly as possible. And he's done extremely well. So that's the unfactored time, which has put him in second position, but we'll just wait and see. 1:15.755, so that is enough for second position at this early stage. So we're 7 riders in, a total of 28 cyclists this afternoon. The first of 5 gold medals to be awarded on day 1 of the Paralympics cycling event at London 2012, this brilliant venue. So rider number 8, Yonsik Jin, C3 category rider from Korea. He won this event in Sydney 2012 and won a bronze in Beijing, and also a bronze back in Sydney in the year 2000 in the road race as well. The Paralympic Games in Beijing, he was a silver medalist in the 3 kilometre pursuit. So that time trial result from Sydney, that was in the road time trial, not this event. And is away. You see his coach urging him on. And Jin's older brother is also a cyclist. So you can see he's right on target here. He's managed to do a very, very good first lap. That acceleration was extraordinary. Yongsit Jin. It's a 34-year-old from Korea. He's He's absolutely powering, still staying within 1 second. Now he's a C3 category rider, so there's not going to be a factor time coming to play here. So we really want to see him power home over this final lap. Looks as though he's still just outside what he needs to slip into first position, but he's going to be right up there. Yep, so he's slipped into second position, 1:14.061. So Joseph Grenier from the United States is still in first position. Yongsik Jin, second. Mikhail Stark from the Czech Republic is sitting in third at the moment. And it's pretty tight up there, the top of the leaderboard. Nathan Smith from New Zealand rode at 1:16, so he's now been pushed into fourth position. He'll be disappointed about that. Arnold Bolt from Canada, he was the first rider of the day. He rode 1:17.304, so he's in fifth position now. But that was a really good ride by Yong Sik Jin. So here we have an updated official standing rather than my calculations on the paper. So Joseph Grenier, first overall at this point in time. So we're not even quite a third of the way through the riders at the moment. Stefan Warriors from Germany is our next athlete. He won the World Road Championships in the C3 category in 2010, and he's a chemist by trade. So Stefan Warriors is a C3 category athlete, so he won't have a factored time in his race. The time to beat at the moment is Joseph Grenier's 1:11.649. Let's see how he goes. Okay, how's he going? Just under a second off the pace at this stage. We're yet to see if he's actually reached his top speed. We'll get a better idea, and we've got 1 lap to go. So not quite. Okay, so slipped a little further off the pace. 2 seconds, 2.4 seconds off the pace now, but that's all right. Let's see how he goes. Rounding the final turn. Is just incredible here today. So 1:15.828. So that's good enough for fourth place. No factored change in there because he's a C3 category rider. So the factored time really is just to even out the competition as much as possible. But look, it's never a perfect science. You're never going to get it 100% right. It's just what can be done to try and make the competition as fair as possible. That's because every athlete is individual, and although they're grouped into categories, people can have quite different levels of impairment to their ability. So groupings have changed over the years, and having a factored time like this is just another way of trying to even out the competition. So Chris Bosmans from Belgium is another C3 rider. He is rider 10, race number 9. Pretty nice looking bike. Of course, all these bikes are full carbon frames. can see the aero bars on there. He's chosen a carbon disc wheel, but not all of the athletes have decided to go with the carbon disc wheels. Some have just in their rear, some have both front and rear as carbon discs, and as we saw earlier, some don't use disc wheels at all. It just depends on personal preference. Certainly there are restrictions in road racing though with your disc wheels. And he's away, the crowd behind him, so the Belgian cyclist Chris Bosmans. Of course, Belgium known for producing some excellent cyclists, particularly in the professional road racing circuit as well. But Bosmans is a good road racer as well. He won the 2011 Road Race Championship for the C3. His club is Cofidis, a very well-known cycling brand / club. And he's coached by Joe Kuhlman. So been riding since the age of 16. He's now 32 years of age. So just a fraction off the pace here, but let's see what he can do. It's nothing, only a couple of hundredths of a second. 1 lap to go. Let's see if he can go better than Joseph Brenier, who's been the pace setter this afternoon. So Chris Bosmans can see the pain and the effort on his face as he opens his mouth and tries to breathe in as much oxygen as possible to get some extra power down that final straight. 1:12.825, so that's enough to put him in second position, but not enough to put him as the leader of the competition. So Belgium's Chris Bosmans right up there, but just not quite enough. So just over a second behind Joseph Berenier from the United States. So a lot of riders to get through this afternoon. That rounded out the first 10 riders. Next up we'll have a German rider, but there's really a full spread of athletes from right around the world. We've got Russia, Canada, South Africa. Darren Kenny is rider number 21. He is the world record holder in the C3 category. That he won that event, the Beijing Paralympics. So Jin Yong-sik from Korea still managing to hang in there in the top 3, but you'd have to say that it's unlikely he'll be able to sustain that position when we look at the quality of field that we still have to go, including 2 world record holders in different categories. Of course, they've now, since the last games, been grouped into the same category, so it will be very interesting to see who will come out the victor today. And of course, you only get one ride. We saw the sessions this morning with the individual pursuit where you get a ranking and then you race off for the medals this afternoon. Well, that's not so the case here. You only get one shot at the time trial. And really, it's the fastest and most powerful that will win. There aren't a lot of tactics in this race. You've just got to get out quick and sustain that speed. So Michael Tuber from Germany. He won the 3 kilometre individual pursuit in Athens and was second in Beijing. He's a very good road cyclist as well. Had a lot of success at previous Paralympic Games, including winning the time trial, the road time trial in Beijing. And also in Athens, so he'll be looking to defend those titles later in the competition, but we're not up to the road racing yet. We've got 4 days of track cycling first to get through. Many of these athletes are competing across both disciplines and have very, very busy schedules indeed. So rounding out onto the home straight. So we're going to have to wait for the factored time. 114 rather. 0.425. So out of the medal count for now. Well, for good really. That's it for Michael Tuber, but a courageous race there. So 6,000 spectators here this afternoon cheering on these cyclists, and they're being very generous with their support, not just supporting their own athletes from GB, but supporting athletes from right around the world. But next up we have an athlete from Ireland, and the Irish athletes have been very, very popular so far at this velodrome. This is Enda Smythe. Who's coached by Brian Nugent. It's also been another one of these athletes who's lucky to be here, really. He had a bad accident in July this year, and he was out on a ride when his front wheel got caught in a roadside grate, and he fell and broke his elbow and had to have surgery, so very nasty accident. And obviously that injury threatened to rule him out of the 2012 Paralympic Games. However, here he is, so what an achievement to be here. That would have been a very nasty fall indeed. Away cleanly. So Enda Smythe representing Ireland. He's 43 years old. So one of the more senior athletes. Based in Dublin. Trains with the fixed rollers. Okay, at the halfway mark, he's less than a second off the pace. C3, so there's no factored element here. What you see is what you get on the screen. You're looking to power home, so 1:11 is the time he needs to beat, 1:11.649. The second rider of the day, Joseph Berenyi, set that time, and no one's been able to beat it thus far. Clinching and grimacing in the pain. This is such a painful event to be able to hold that speed. The lactic acid would be absolutely burning right now. That's a good ride, that's a good ride. 1:13.890. So that's enough to put him into third position. Enda Smythe from Ireland, a very popular competitor here this afternoon. But we all know who the biggest cheer is going to be reserved for this afternoon, and that is for the home athletes. Darren Kenny and Richard Wadden are still yet to come. But up next we've got another Spanish rider. So the Spanish cycling team has been featuring prominently. They've come here with a decent contingent. Juan Jose Mendez is a C1 rider, and he'll be next up on the track. Came second in the road time trial in Beijing in 2008. And as for his cycling or track cycling career, he's a multiple medalist at Paralympic level. In Athens, he was second in the 3-kilometre pursuit. In Beijing, he was third in that event as well. He's also had a lot of success at the World Championships as well in recent years. Juan Jose Mendez. He's 48 years of age. Crucial to get a good start and get up to speed as quickly as possible. There's not much margin for error, although there's not really many tactics in this. There's no margin for error either, and you need to be very efficient with your pedalling. Find your line and hold it. So this man on the screen in front of us says after winning silver and bronze in Athens, he wants to win gold in London. That's his final goal left that he wants to achieve in the sport. And he's racing in 4 events at London 2012. So I have to say he's got a reasonable chance of satisfying that dream. Here, now the time you see on the screen won't be his end result. He's a C1 athlete, so we've got that factor of 89.06%. Okay, here we go. So crossing the line, 1:26, that's the unfactored time. 1:16. Oh, you can feel the pain. It makes me feel a bit ill looking at that. It's so painful. So 1:16.743. So as we've moved throughout the field, you've seen that early on that time was quite reasonable. The first sort of 5 or 6 riders, that would have been right up there, but we've seen the quality of the field improve, and as a result 1:16 is now no longer good enough to be anywhere near the medal standings whatsoever, but still an excellent ride. And now Juan Jose Mendez will be looking to his road race. He's got the road time trial road race, and he's also got the men's individual C1 pursuit as well, which is across 4 kilometres rather than the 1 kilometre. And we know that's a lot of the cyclists that adapt between track and road are often very good at the individual pursuit, because it's that longer sort of test of endurance, and there's less of a need to get away to a really explosive start, because you've got that little bit more time to get up to speed, and it is more of a test of endurance. But now we have a Japanese athlete, our first Japanese athlete of the afternoon at the track cycling, Masaki Vegeta. He's a C3 athlete, so no factoring time coming into play here. What a very well-behaved crowd here. So Vegeta's goal at these games is he wants to come home with a medal. He's also racing in 4 events, and I can tell you that at the Paralympics in China he won a silver and a bronze in the road events, and in the track events he won a silver medal in the 3 kilometre pursuit. He's also done well at the Track World Championships in the 1,000 kilometre time trial, so this event, and the 3 kilometre pursuit. So he won that in 2009, this very event, in the LC3 event, and he's looking extremely strong. It looks like he's pedaling at a higher cadence than some of the other cyclists that we've seen this afternoon. Tucked down in that aerodynamic position. And the crowd's certainly getting behind you, but the burn has well and truly set in. Such a difficult race. So about a second and a half off the pace, and that time is what he will get. There'll be no factoring that comes into it, so we'll need to see a really strong spurt if he's got anything left to get across that line this afternoon. But around about 2 seconds off the pace thus far. Let's see what he's been able to manage in the last 125 metres. So 6th position, 1:14.998. Masaki Vegeta. So now he will look to his individual pursuit as his other track event, and then focus solely, of course, on the road events. So Masaki Vegeta leaves the track, making way for our next athlete from Colombia. From Bogota, Alvaro Galvez Becerra. So Galvez Becerra is a C2 athlete. Let me tell you a little bit about him. He has 2 daughters, no doubt watching on with great interest. Came first in the C2 road race in Roskilde in Denmark in 2011. Some pretty flash carbon wheels there from the Colombian. Stars in the middle. And off to a great start, and the crowd's being very well behaved here. It's also almost becoming comical with the hush, being told to hush so that the rider can clearly hear the start gun and of course the countdown. So Galvis Becerra, the Colombian athlete, a C2 category rider. In 2008, he became the first Colombian cyclist to win a medal at the Paralympic Games, and of course that was in Beijing in 2008, just 4 short years ago. But it is a long journey for these athletes to keep up their training and keep up that hunger and desire to compete again. So, Galvis Becerra onto his final lap of the 1 kilo event, I should say. This is the men's individual C1, 2 and 3 1 kilometre time trial if you've just joined us on Paralympic Sport TV. And we are whipping through the field. Galvis Becerra is rider number 15 and is across the line. We will have a factored time, so we'll just wait a minute. 1:14.275. So that's enough to put him into 5th position. So out of the medal count. Now this is the first gold medal of the track cycling to be awarded. And after this, there's another 4 gold medals this afternoon. We'll have write-offs for the gold and also the bronze medal in the women's individual pursuit and also the men's individual pursuit B category, the vision impaired riders. So Joseph Berenier will have been sitting there. Looks like he's keeping some good humour there, but it wouldn't be a nice feeling sitting there just waiting to see how everyone else is going to go. He's been leading since he rode in the second. He was the second rider of the afternoon. Now we're up to rider number 16, Ivo Kabasa from the Czech Republic, a C2 category. So Ivo Kabasa, his nickname is Pirate. And he's a youngster too. He's just 19 years of age. So we've had a full complement of ages this afternoon. We've had riders almost at the age of 50. And here, Ivo Kabasa is one of the youngest in the competition. Ivo Kabasa is going to be competing in 5 events at these games. He's a business student. Began the sport as a 14-year-old. Finished 4th at the 2011 World Championships in Denmark. So he's up there. It'll be interesting to see what he can achieve at these games with 5 different events across the road and the track. So Ivo Kabasa, a C2 athlete, and he's doing extremely well. At the halfway mark, he's just over half a second in front of Joseph Berenier. If I was Joseph Berenier, I don't know if I'd want to watch or not. Sitting there in the middle of the track, waiting to see whether his score is or whether his time's going to be bettered. So 1 lap to go. Let's get a better update. Okay, so he's dropped off the pace a little. He's now just running behind, but don't forget we've got a factor to take into account here. So it's about a second off the pace with half a lap to go. And here he is, 1:18.841, the unfactored time. $1:12.730. So excellent ride, and really sort of in some ways been the only main challenger to Joseph Berenier. that's looked like he might be able to push him off that top position, but not to be. So Ivo Kabasa is in second position. As the jostling continues on the leaderboard, however, there's still one man clear at the top, Joseph Beri, who rode earlier today 1:11.649, so 1 minute 11 seconds .649. That compares to Kabasa's 1:12.730. So we can now introduce you to our next rider from Russia, Alexi Obidov. I will give you a better pronunciation of that. So he only took up cycling in September 2010 and then finished second in the 15-kilometre time trial at the Russian Championships. And so he was a swimmer, but then he got so excited about that result that he decided he wanted to take up cycling full time. And here he is representing his nation at the London 2012 Paralympic Games in not one but 4 events. So the 2 road events, and he's riding the kilo as well as the men's individual C3 pursuit. Crowd silent. And he's away. So I'm looking at that bike with a bit of envy. A very nice Cervelo that he's got there in his country colours, red and white, blue booties, just to round about. So here we go. Less than a second off the pace at this stage. Can he challenge Joseph Beri? That is the question. Now, there's no factoring time here. Obidov is a C3 athlete, so what you see is what you get on the screen, and wow, what a blistering lap. He's almost a second in front of Beri at this point, but can he hold that top speed? It's going to be very difficult and very painful to do so, but his making up time is now over a second in front. So 1 lap to go. What is he capable of in this final lap? Can the crowd push him to go one better than Beri? Who round the final elbow of this beautiful track here at London 2012, powering down the home straight, and he's done it. 1:10.995. That's 1:10.995. So he's managed to knock Joseph Beri from the top of the position. Beri now in second position, and this man on your screen, Obidov, has taken the lead of this time trial competition. But let's not forget that there are some excellent riders, including 2 world record holders in their respective categories, to come this afternoon. So anything could happen in this next half hour or so as we round out this competition. So Obidov was the 17th rider, 17th of 28, so we still have 10 riders to go in this competition. I beg your pardon, 11 riders still to go in this competition. Hanging the tongue out there. It's funny how all the different athletes have a different way of expressing their pain or their exertion, but that was a great ride. He'll be happy with that, but we're just going to have to wait and see whether that's enough to keep him in the medal count, given that we have some quality riders still to come. You're watching Paralympic Sport TV with me, Amy Bainbridge. This is coverage of day 1 of the afternoon session of track cycling. David Nicholas from Australia. The Aussies have been very, very popular here. Made his debut in 2010, so this is his first Paralympic Games. His goal here is to win a medal at London 2012, and he's racing in 5 events across the track and field program, so He'll be very, very busy indeed. He's only 21 years of age, or rather 20 years of age, turns 21 in December. So another young cyclist, as we mentioned before, there's been a number of cyclists over the age of 40 competing today, both in the men and the women, but in particular the men's field. There's been some quite senior members who've had success in other events at a Paralympic level and have made the switch to cycling. 1.5 seconds off the pace. I guess there's something to be said for that, because as you grow older, cycling is such a fantastic sport because it's lower impact, and you can really judge your progress over time with your power, your muscle endurance. It's a fantastic social sport as well, particularly those long training rides, training sessions, and when you hook up with a good club, you make friends for life. So that's the broader appeal to perhaps the other cyclists who've done individual sports earlier in their career and want to take up something new. So here we have David Nicholas. And we won't have a factored time for David Nicholas. He's a C3 athlete. So 1:13.087. So that puts him in 5th position. So out of the medal count for this particular event, but as I mentioned, a total of 5 events here at London that he's competing in. So he'll be hopeful that he might excel, and I do know that he enjoys the road time trial, so that might be something that he is very keen on. And last year in the C3 road race, he won a silver medal in Roskilde in Denmark. Did extremely well in the C3 time trial, winning the gold medal at the World Championships. So he may be a little disappointed with that result, because he was second at the track World Championships in LA earlier this year. However, as we've seen, it's an extremely strong field, and with the 3 groupings together, C1, 2 and 3 athletes, it's a big challenge to get on that podium. Braden McDougall from Canada is our next athlete we can introduce you to this afternoon. So he's just 24 years of age, so another young rider, so plenty of future champions we're seeing here this afternoon. Bit of a disco helmet he's got there. Of course, all the gear chosen to be as aerodynamic as possible. So you'll see that the helmets they wear here and on the time trial race on the road as well, rather than sort of choosing the classic time trial bars that you'd normally see in the middle of the handlebars. He's gone for a wider grip, often personal preference, whatever's most comfortable, depends on the athlete's body and what they find the most comfortable. So now Braden McDougall is a C1 athlete. So don't forget, we're going to have a factored time coming in here. He opens his mouth, sucking in the air, but also gritting his teeth in the pain of this event, because it is very, very painful indeed. You've got to reach that hot top speed. Oh, look at him go, and you've got to stay there for as long as you possibly can. Let's see how his last lap's gone, because he's about 2 seconds off the pace, but don't worry, there's still a factored time to come into play here. Just don't know that it's going to be a new Paralympic record. That is for the C1 category. And I do believe that that's a record because, in fact, this particular category, the regrouping in this event, hasn't been run at a Paralympic level before. So 3rd overall, Braden McDougall. So of the 28 riders this afternoon, 8 of them are in the C1 category. But we've got a whole bunch of quality riders still to come this afternoon. So 28 riders in total. We're now up to rider number 20, who is from the Republic of South Africa, Jaco Nell, who you'll see on your screens in just a moment. He'll be getting organised to get on his bike. from Cape Town in South Africa. So just right, that's in your screen, the man who is currently Okay, so here we have Jake O'Neill from South Africa, a C2 rider. He'll be hoping for a medal here in the C1, so he's changed divisions, but the C1 1,000 metre time trial in 2011 in Italy, he won a silver medal. Qualified for the Beijing Paralympics, but didn't race because he broke his hip in training and had to miss the games. So disappointing. But he's been pretty forthright in what he wants from these games, and that is to win gold at the London Paralympics. He trains 6 days a week on the road and 3 days a week in the gym. And of course, that means he's competing in both the road race and the road time trial here in London, as well as the men's individual pursuit, which is 4 kilometres. And this is his C1, 2 and 3 1 kilometre time trial this afternoon. So he wants a medal, but perhaps not in this event. You can see that it's a very powerful man. So about half a second off the pace at this stage, but he's a C2 athlete, so we'll wait and see what the factored time is going to be. We should have a pretty good idea, though, by 3 laps in, how he's travelling and whether he might be in medal contention. So about a second and a half, just under a second and a half behind the leading time. Powering around the last turn. And this is where you'd almost feel sick to the stomach with the pain. So that is a very, very good result. So factored time, 1:12.405. That is an excellent ride. So I'll be able to update you on the leaderboard shortly, but obviously, as you can see at the moment, there's been a lot of jostling around that sort of 3-4 mark. A lot of position changing, so Alexi Obidov from Russia, the C3 rider, he's still in the lead of this competition. He'll just be sitting back to wait and see, but still Joseph Beri, he's still in second position, so you remember that he was leading this competition for most of it until the Russian rider came along. Now we're going to get a very big cheer because we've got a home athlete about to mount his bike. Darren Kenny. Darren Kenny is the reigning Paralympic champion in the C3 category, and he also holds the world record of 1:08.668 in this event, which doubles as a Paralympic record as well. He set that back in Beijing in 2008, and here he is. And so many athletes have spoken about this energy that you can draw on from the crowd. There's 6,000 people at the velodrome, and no spare seats at all. You can't buy any track cycling tickets from now on. It's all been sold out, which is a fantastic result for these Paralympic Games and a fantastic result for these athletes, because I remember back in Beijing, the success of those games was extraordinary. Many Paralympians had never competed in front of such big crowds before, and the Paralympic Games just entered a new era, I believe, during the Beijing Paralympics, and now we're capitalising on that success again. Absolute silence, and then Darren Kenny is away and the crowd has gone wild. So Darren Kenny, a C3 athlete, He's not going to have a factored time here, but what he wants is to defend his performance in Beijing and get another gold medal, and the crowd desperately wants him as well. He's off to a brilliant start, almost 2 seconds in front of the next fastest time. That's the Russian rider, but let's see how he goes and whether the crowd can pull him along. 1 lap in, 1.627 ahead of the pace. And this is extraordinary. He'll be drawing on this energy from the crowd at the Velodrome. Okay, let's get a good look. 1.297, okay, so he's still keeping that lead, but let's see how he goes over the next 500 metres. He's had a fantastic start, but can he maintain that? It's dropping off ever so slightly as we go through each checkpoint. Oh, this is going to be a tight finish. Can he do it? He just needs to power home over this last lap. It's just very, very, yep, it's paring it back. He's paring it back. Rounding down the last straight, and he's done it. 1:10.203 in front of the home crowd. Fantastic. Less than a second in front. So he is the new leader of this race this afternoon, the kilo event. Darren Kenny from Great Britain in front of his home crowd, 1:10.203. C3 rider is now lobbed in front, so that's going to push Obidov down to second position, and Joseph Berenyi, who was leading, is now in third position. What a fantastic ride. He got an amazing start. So his first lap was extraordinarily fast, and then he was almost 2 seconds up on the leader at that point, and then gradually it did drop back, but he was still around, I think it's around 0.08 of a second. I'll need to double check that, but around 0.08 of a second faster than the Russian, who was in first position. He's now been relegated to second. There he is. He's probably wondering what to focus on at the moment. It'd be so hard to watch. Hoping you're staying in medal contention, but literally nothing you can do about it. Just have to wait and see how everyone else is going to perform and know that you've done your best and be happy and satisfied with your performance. Janyu, the Chinese rider, is up next. He's a C1 rider, so there's a factor element coming into play here compared to the time that you're going to see on your screen. So cleats as well as straps to make sure. Many a top-level athlete has come undone at the highest level because of really simple technical failures. So you'll see the straps over the shoes are ensuring that with the great amount of force that they pull out of those starting blocks with, that your foot doesn't snap out of the cleat at the bottom of the shoe. It's been such excitement that I haven't had a lot of time to tell you about these other athletes, but Li Janyu came third in this event in Los Angeles earlier this year. That's the time trial event, and he's off. And he cycles with the Zhejiang cycling team in China, so not a Guangdong cyclist, as we've seen so many cyclists based in Guangdong today. He made his international debut at the 2010 Asian Games. He only started cycling in 2007, so a rapid rise for the youngster. He's 23, just turned 24 years of age. He is on fire. Oh my goodness, I've just looked up at the screen after I was checking my notes, and he is a whopping 2.5 seconds ahead of 3 seconds, almost 3.5 seconds ahead of the pace. This is an amazing ride. Wow, this is extraordinary. Darren Kenny may well not get to defend his Paralympic title, because now, oh my goodness, more than 4 seconds ahead. Li Janyu is having a sensational ride, the ride of his life, and don't forget he's a C1 category athlete, so he's going to have a factored time come into play as well. This is extraordinary. And he's absolutely smashed the world record. He has smashed it. He's absolutely killed it. It's 1:18 was the existing world record. He's ridden a 1:05 factored time. 1:05.021, a world record, and that puts him in first position. Wow. We've really got to wonder, I guess, coming on from the success of the Beijing Paralympics and what sort of impetus that did to so many different sports. Oh, a bit of a swerve on the track there, nearly hit one of the officials. Hit right off in the middle. But when you have such a successful Paralympic Games in your host country and the exposure and the improved, I guess, awareness and training methods that come out of that, the improved focus, knowing what athletes can achieve, then to come along to the very next Paralympic Games being motivated by what you've seen on your home soil. Well, here we have it, the results of that, a Chinese rider. This is unbelievable. This is an amazing result. Wow. So Janyu, wow, that's just amazing, and he's absolutely spent. He's given it everything, and I can tell you that he's still got another 3 events on his cycling calendar. Looked like that was Darren Kenny. I couldn't see his face, but looked as though Darren Kenny was giving a little interview there, so they obviously, the media caught up with him straight after that. But gee, what a huge margin. Even without the factored time, he had beaten Darren Kenny, but with the factored time, the margin was even greater. That's just so impressive. Tobias Graph now, C2 rider from Germany. Very, very experienced campaigner. He has won multiple medals in track cycling in Athens and Beijing, and also has done extremely well at World Championships over the years. He also wants to compete in the 2015 and 2016 Paralympic Games. 2015 World Cup and the 2016 Paralympic Games in Rio. And he's just 28 years of age, so it's easy to see that this man, Tobias Graph, has got a long future ahead of him. He's also competing in a total of 5 events here at these London 2012 Games. Stroking the pedals, impressive motion. So 1 lap to go. Let's get a check-in with how he's doing. He's 6 seconds behind. There will be a factor coming into play here. He is a C2 category athlete from Germany, the 28-year-old, who says he will most definitely be back for Rio. So here he is. How's he done? Just trying to work out whether I read that read that correctly. For a C2 category athlete, it appears he's broken a world record for that category. This is unbelievable. There's some amazing performances here this afternoon. That has catapulted him into 2nd position. Just going to wait for this confirmed factored time, but he's most definitely broken the existing world record for the C2 category. So what have we got? 109.979. So he has absolutely smashed the existing world record by 7 seconds. 7 seconds. So that means Darren Kenny is now in 3rd position overall. Wow, what a ride. So still, we have 5 cyclists left to come, but geez, how fast can they go? That is the question. Okay, here we have it. C1-3, Janyu, who was amazing, amazing ride, but Tobias Graph at one point was 6 seconds off the pace, and you would have thought, goodness, that's a fair way off the pace. However, one can't forget that Janyu's time is so extraordinary. But really, that was good enough to put Graph into 2nd place. And so Darren Kenny's got to hope now that he can hold on to that bronze medal spot. Xie Hao from China. So what are the Chinese riders capable of this afternoon? He's just seen his teammate smash the world record, take first place in the position. Now it's Xie Hao's turn. See Li Janyu so happy with his performance. And look, it's fantastic to be leading the competition, but it's also fantastic to be thrilled within yourself about your personal performance and know that you've done all that you could. So regardless of whether you end up in the medals or not. So see him clipping into the cleats there, straps across the top, and then they'll put the booties over the top, which just helps with the aerodynamic nature of it. I mean, a lot of people wear booties in their road cycling anyway to keep their feet warm. Not so in this case. You don't really need to be kept warm. It's more to make it a little more streamlined. That lycra fitting over the top, and it looks pretty cool as well. So a bit of time of preparation, and Xie Hao hasn't got the aero bars on. Again, personal preference, but you just try and get into that most aerodynamic position as possible. Xie Hao had a pretty good run at the World Championships earlier this year in Los Angeles. He came away with 2 gold medals, and he's one of these famed Guangdong cycling team cyclists. So he obviously trains with a few of the women that we saw racing earlier today in the individual pursuit. He's just a youngster, 23 years of age. So Xie Hao, he's a C2 category athlete, so there will be a factored time here. Let's see what he's capable of. See whether he can go even better than his teammate, who's, well, he is at the moment. Goodness me. That is a very, very fast start indeed. So coming up to the first lap, let's see how he's tracking. Okay. So it was a very good start, but he's now half a second off the pace. Can he accelerate? So got away to a great start. The key, of course, is to maintain that speed. So about 2 seconds off the pace. However, we do have the factoring element coming into play here. Now, after seeing that incredible performance of his teammate earlier today, Li Janyu, can Xie Hao do it? One lap to go. So he's using his drops. He's preferring to do that rather than using the time trialing bars. Personal preference, and would also suit his body as well, whatever he feels the most comfortable and the most balanced in. So 1:16.130. Let's wait for the factored time. 1:10.229. So he's in 4th place, and that's not enough for a medal at this stage, but still an excellent result and a really good ride. Gee, the quality of this field, it's really, particularly in the back half of this competition, has been quite extraordinary. So I can now introduce you. We've got 4 athletes to go, but the next athlete will be a very, very popular one. I can guarantee that. Obviously hasn't walked out yet because we haven't heard the crowd roar, but Richard Wadden from GB, Team GB, is our next cyclist. He was a silver medalist in the CP3 time trial in Beijing in 2008. He's also done extremely well at this race, the World Championship level. So this is going to be very, very interesting indeed. We know we've set some blistering times, but we've got the home crowd on the side of this athlete. And if he does well enough, he's going to push his countryman Darren Kenny out of the medal standings. It's going to take a few moments to get set on the bike. And it is away, and the crowd is absolutely behind him. And let's see how much he can use this to his advantage. Richard Wadden, a C3 athlete, the home athlete in front of his home crowd. Inspired to take up this sport after watching the Tour de France. I think a lot of us could attest to that, watching the Tour and wanting to get on the bike and having a fantastic time of it. Okay. So there's not going to be a factor brought into this, and it looks as at this stage as though he's not going to affect Darren Kenny's medal prospects. At least he's about 4 seconds off the pace, but gosh, what a pace it's been set this afternoon. Gosh, it just goes so quickly. So 750-metre mark is about 5.5 seconds off the pace, so not going to be a threat in the medal standings, but nevertheless a great performance because of the 28 riders. He's certainly going to be right up there in the standings. So 6th position, a top 10 finish it will be for him this afternoon, and what an experience, what a great way to compete in front of your home crowd. So we've got another 3 cyclists to compete in this event. It's the kilo, the men's individual 1, 2 and 3 1 kilometre time trial this afternoon. But look, there is so much action happening here at this beautiful velodrome this afternoon, because we've not only got this, we have got another 4 medals up for grabs, 4 gold medals up for grabs this afternoon. So we had the qualifying rounds, in case you missed it this morning, the qualifying rounds of the individual pursuit for the women. For all categories of the C1 to 5 women. C1, 2 and 3 were grouped together. And then we had C4 and C5 racing separately, and then of course the men's B division. So that all happened this morning. We had the overall standings decided, and then there's going to be a write-off for the gold medal and a write-off for the bronze. And the way that'll work is that the bronze will go first, and then the gold medal will be decided straight after that in all those events. So very exciting indeed. So this is another Chinese rider, Liang Guihua. You can hear him say, yeah, how? My shoe's good. As they're clipping in the pedals, so using the cleats and the straps, as we mentioned earlier. So Liang Guihua has had a pretty good couple of years. He's only young as well. He's 18 years of age, so, sorry, rather 28 years of age. Terrible maths there, but let's see what he's capable of. So Liang Guihua is a C2 classified athlete, age of 28 years, and halfway around the course he's about 6 seconds off the pace at this point, so not really looking like a medal threat, but still, gee, these Chinese cyclists have been really impressive this afternoon, and as I was saying earlier, probably something to do with that momentum and buoyancy carrying over from the Beijing Paralympics, where it was just such a successful games and the Chinese athletes did so well. And the momentum that then carries through to London 2012. Well, a few years ago, I suggest that there wouldn't have been this many cyclists in a track racing final a few games ago, but the momentum and the image and the impetus that comes from hosting a home games, and then the talent pool that happens, that sort of is created or expanded rather as a result of hosting home games is just fantastic. So we're getting some reports from down at the mixed zone at the velodrome. The mixed zone is where the cyclists finish off their bikes and go through and chat to a whole range of reporters, and apparently from the mixed zone it is absolutely deafening when the Great Britain riders are competing. So Liang Guihua, absolutely spent there. So in the mixed zone, the reporters can prepare to be deafened yet again, because we have another GB rider, Mark Lee Colburn. Don't forget though, okay, so Mark Lee Colburn is the second last rider for today, for this particular race. However, Rodrigo Fernando Lopez from Argentina comes after him. He was the C1 world record holder before that was broken, well, snatched, I should say, today. So he'll be out there and he won't be happy. Clipped in and ready to go. Silence before the roar. And is away, and the crowd is going to push Mark Lee Colburn as much as they can. So Mark Lee Colburn is a C1 category cyclist. Had some success at the World Championship level earlier this year. He came second in this event, just 3 seconds off the pace at this point, but there is a factored time that we're going to need to calculate at the end of this. Okay, so we're at the halfway mark. He's about 4 seconds off the pace. Is it going to be enough to get him into the medal standings? That is the question. He's going to really have to draw on this energy for the crowd, push through the pain, that lactic acid build-up. Such a difficult event. Still 1 lap to go. Can he get the crowd to push him to new heights? That is the question. He seemed to make up a bit of time on that last lap. He's going to need to pull something out over this final straight. Wow. So factored time. I'm just trying to work out whether I read that right just then. That's extraordinary. I believe Mark Lee Colburn has come in, he's now in second position. So the factored time there has brought him in to second position. That is extraordinary. Standing ovation from the crowd, fantastic, and no doubt it is absolutely deafening down there in the mixed zone where those poor reporters might have caught down the bottom at the moment, but they'll be trying to get their hands on this man as soon as possible. So the bad news about that, of course, is that Darren Kenny has been pushed out of the medal standings and further down the rankings. But Janyu is still the leader, so no great surprises there. Mark Lee Colburn coming in second, and then it's a pretty tight jostle. So we've got Tobias Graph. It looks as though Tobias Graph is in third. Here we go. We've got the official standings. Darren Kenny, now been pushed into 4th position. Liang Guihua is in 5th. So Janyu still, gee, that was an amazing performance this afternoon. I really still can't quite get over it. He just absolutely burst out of the blocks. Now this man, what is he capable of? This is the question. I don't know about you, but if I was sitting around all afternoon and and watched my world record be broken, I would not be very happy. Whether he can harness that a bit of anger, a bit of energy, and manage to wrestle that back, that is the question for this man this afternoon. So all of these athletes pretty much this afternoon will be competing in the road events next week as well. So Rodrigo Fernando Lopez from Argentina, he's a C1 category athlete. Can he get himself into the top of the standings? Can he beat Janyu, who had that sensational ride? So just to recap, that ride, the factored time from Janyu was unbelievable ride in any case, but with the factored time, 1:05.021. Some 3 seconds ahead of the next best placed rider, Colburn, who rode just then, who's now in second position. But what is Lopez capable of? A few final checks there on the bike, making sure everything's in the starting blocks. Not sure what they're thinking about the seat post there, but mustn't be quite attached very well. It's adding to the drama of this final rider of the day, and there is some expectation that he will be able to do very well, but there's just a little bit of a problem with the catch there around the seat post. Make sure it's lined up correctly. The last thing you want is for it not to let go, or to let go slightly off balance. So Lopez won a bronze at the 2004 Paralympics in Athens, and he's away. What can he do here? He set the world record, well, the world record that was broken today. He set that world record in November 2011 in Mexico. All right, this will give us the first sort of view of how he's going. So about 2 seconds off the pace, just under 2 seconds off the pace at this stage, but he's a C1 rider. There's a factored time in play. If you can just keep in touch by that amount, you'd have to think he'll be able to get easily into the medal standings. Let's see what he can do. So just over 4 seconds off the pace. Lopez coming into his final lap. So he's actually dropped off a little further, but what can he do in this last lap? He's absolutely in agony, but I bet he's not thinking about that. I bet he's listening to the crowd and trying to surge along with them. So 1:13.08 rather is the time to beat. So his current time, 7th position. Let's wait for the factored time. It looks as though it's going to be rounded down to probably around the 1:10, yep, 1:10.689 mark. So 7th position. So no, it won't get him into the medal standings, but we can now tell you that the winner this afternoon will be the Chinese rider Li Janyu. What an impressive, dominant display he had this afternoon. Lopez will still feature in the road racing next week, and he's also going to be in the C1 pursuit as well. So Mark Lee Colburn from Great Britain, that was who that cheer was for. He's taken the silver medal. I think that bronze is going to go to Tobias Graph from Germany. We'll just get that official confirmation, but it looks as though it is China. Indeed. So a bit of a cool down happening there, trying to get recovery, because there will have been a fair lactic acid build-up throughout that race. So it's important to not sit around. You need to work that lactic acid through your muscles and try and help some recovery. because many of these athletes, there you have it, the official confirmation, many of these athletes have got a very, very, very busy schedule ahead of them for these games. So this is just the first of a number of events. Most athletes appear to be racing in 4 or 5 events, so generally 2 track and 2 road races as well. So on the road race we have, of course, the road racing we have the individual road race, and then we have a road time. Okay, so the stadium announcer there just explaining what's going to happen this afternoon with these track cycling events. So basically what I can tell you is that we have about to start the C123 women's individual pursuit, the race distance 3,000 metres, in case you didn't catch us this morning. So first up will be the bronze and then the gold medal race. Then we'll have the women's individual C4 pursuit. Then we'll have the women's individual C5 pursuit. All the distances are the same. All the distances are 3,000 metres. And then we'll have the men's individual B pursuit for bronze and for gold. So that will be after that. And that will round out what has been a very, very impressive first day of track cycling at the London 2012 Paralympic Games. Wow, what excitement. Smashing world records. We've had 2 world records set today in 2 different categories, but the one that was most impressive, I've got to say, was the Janyu. So we switch our attention now to the women, and they've already been out in their qualifying rounds this morning. Just testing there the start system to make sure all is well. In the first event, we've got Denise Schindler from Germany and Alison Jones from the United States of America. They are racing against each other for the bronze medal. So Denise Schindler is who you can see on your screen at the moment. She's a C3 athlete. All right, it is a bit of a change of pace. You've got to get your head around a different event now, but Denise Schindler did extremely well at the World Championships earlier this year, and so did Alison Jones, who's being introduced right now. So Alison Jones and Denise Schindler racing off. Individual pursuit. So Alison Jones won this event in 2011 at the Track World Championships. So 3,000 metres, so we've got a little bit more time to settle into this compared to what we've just been sitting through, which was the 1,000 metres. So not quite as crucial to get such a quick start, but it is crucial to get up to top speed and maintain it, and it's such a test of endurance, this event, for that very reason. Very difficult, and that's why many of these cyclists who excel at the individual pursuit also excel in the road cycling as well, because of the test of speed and endurance rolled into one. So it looks as though Schindler has the early advantage. She's only by about a second though, and it looks as though Jones has managed to pare that back slightly. So .3 kilometres. So basically what will happen is you get a good start. The best riders are pretty even with their pace throughout the event, but yeah, coach urging his rider on there. But look, the best athletes will manage to keep an even pace. But look, it really depends on the riders. Some may leave some in the tank so they can actually absolutely motor home over the final couple of laps. But Denise Schindler certainly has the early advantage in this race off for the bronze medal. Jones is getting back to her though. She's cut the deficit to less than half a second. Less than half a second. So it's gone from more than a second to less than half a second. It could mean that Schindler has gone out too hard, or it could just simply mean that Jones... Don't forget that there'll be a fair amount of fatigue coming into play. Both of these women raced very, very hard this morning. Now Schindler has fallen behind Jones. So Jones has taken the lead. The crowd is really getting behind both of these riders here. Okay, so let's get an updated look at how things are going. So Schindler now has dropped off the pace by almost a second, but what can she do? What is she capable of? Don't forget, we've still got 2 laps to go. So has she got enough kick in those legs after a tough race this morning? Can she use the crowd to lift her above? But it looks as though Jones has gone about it the right way. And Jones has a commanding lead now. More than a second in front, 1.684 in front. With only a lap and a half to go, she's about to get the bell. Here we go, the final lap, and Schindler has unfortunately dropped well off the pace, 2.5 seconds behind. So Alison Jones is going to be the victor. She'll come home with the bronze medal. Bar any catastrophe, of course, in this final half lap. There we have it. She's done it. 4:27.793. It'll be interesting to see. Interesting to see how that compares to the other final this afternoon. But Alison Jones absolutely thrilled, screaming out. Oh, that agony makes it worth it when you get to come home with a medal, and urging the crowd to help her celebrate. That is fantastic. It's great to see. Well, that is fantastic to see an athlete truly celebrating her achievements, and well done. Alison Jones from the United States, the bronze medalist this afternoon, but who will take gold? So the race for gold is Zheng Xini from China and Simone Kennedy from Australia. Zheng Xini, another one of those fantastic riders from the Guangdong Club. So Simone Kennedy, as we mentioned earlier, she's from Parramatta in Western Sydney. But she's really burst onto the scene. Her international debut for Australia was at the World Championships in Los Angeles this year, and here she is now racing off in a final. She's only 18 years of age. What a bright future she has ahead of her. They're away. Clean start for both of them. A little bit off her line, Zhang Xini, but that's all right. As we've been talking about this afternoon, that the start isn't the most crucial part. It's how quickly you can get up to speed, though, and maintain that speed and push through the pain. This endurance race is just so difficult. So Zhang Xini, the 24-year-old, she's based in Guangdong province, where she was born. And she won the individual C2 category at the World Championships earlier this year in Los Angeles. And at those World Championships, Simone Kennedy won her category, the C3 pursuit, but of course they're racing against each other this time around. Simone Kennedy with the early advantage at this stage, so she has had a great start. She's about 2 seconds out, but as we saw in the bronze medal race-off, it doesn't really mean much because all the business end of the race really is with about 1,500 metres to go, and it gives you a better sense of who's managed to maintain their speed. See, already you can see there Zhang Xini has made up some of the time, so she's halved the deficit now. Simone Kennedy, what an extraordinary rise for Simone Kennedy, and she is so young. She's competing in 4 events here in London, as is Zhang Xini. Okay. So Zhang Xini has overtaken Simone Kennedy, but there's really not much in it. This is going to be a brilliant finish for this race because the riders are pretty closely matched, although from that side-on view, it was quite obvious that Zhang Xini has the clear advantage. She's made it out to almost a second now. So Simone Kennedy had that great start, but Zhang Xini, as she's picked up pace and powered through, is clearly stamping her authority on this. And look at this. Now she's almost extended her lead to 2 seconds, 1.704 seconds. So Zhang Xini performing extremely well. The Guangdong cyclist, which is producing just so many strong cyclists at the moment. Li Peng is the national coach. Wei Jiantao is the other national coach. They're in charge of Zhang Xini. So now Simone Kennedy, about 2.5 seconds off the pace, but Zhang Xini taking nothing away from her. She is having the ride of her career at the moment. Look at her go. She wants that gold medal, and all indications are that she's going to get it. Because that deficit now, more than 3 seconds, that is going to be very, very difficult to overcome. So anything going down, and that will motivate her even more. And of course, with the crowd here at the velodrome cheering her on. So Zhang Xini, 2 laps to go. What have we got? She's extended her lead even further. So she's about 4 seconds clear now of Simone Kennedy. And she will love to hear that sound. 1 lap to go. Zhang Xini, the crowd is absolutely behind her at the moment, and she's even letting herself have a slight smile because she's enjoying this moment. The crowd absolutely lifting her up across the line. What an amazing achievement here. The Chinese cyclists doing extremely well this afternoon. Gold and gold to China. So that was, in the end, 7 seconds faster than the bronze medal race-off. So absolutely stamping her authority. And it was outside the world record time. It was actually slower than she raced this morning, but only by about a second. So what a champion, Zhang Xini. And Simone Kennedy, I do hope she celebrates that silver. What a fantastic achievement. Her first Paralympic Games, racing into the final for the gold medal. Well, that is the women's individual C1, 2 and 3 pursuit. That is over with for these games at least. But now moving on to the women's C4 pursuit, I must declare a personal interest in this next race. We've got Alexander Green from Australia racing against Marie-Claude Molnar, and then for the gold, Sue Powell from Canberra, from my cycling club in Canberra, the Canberra Vikings, racing against Megan Fisher. And I know there are just so many of Sue's cycling buddies and friends and family in Canberra who will desperately be hoping for that. But there's the final standings of the women's individual pursuit C1 to 3, so that's the 3 categories combined. Sung Sini winning ahead of Simone Kennedy, and the bronze medal going to Alison Jones from the United States of America. She's absolutely exhausted. Very difficult to stand up after an endurance race. She will be shaking all over, and after such an amazing performance this morning as well, it was impressive that she backed up and was, you know, sort of less than a second behind her world record breaking performance this morning. Very, very big day of cycling, and then she's still got some days to back up for as well. So I was talking about Sue Powell from Canberra just a moment ago, and earlier today when she raced in the women's qualifying at C4 category, she set a world record, and of course in that process set a Paralympic record because of the games that we're at. So she rode the 3,000 metres in 4 minutes 3 seconds .306. So she will be racing for the gold medal against Megan Fisher. The Australians have done pretty well though. Alexandra Green racing against Canada's Marie-Claude Molnar for the bronze. So that pair will go first, and then it will be the gold medal race after that. It looks as though we may be squeezing in a victory ceremony before we go to the women's individual C4 pursuit. Won by Chinese athletes, a Chinese man and a Chinese woman, doing extremely well. Of course, Great Britain managing to pick up a silver in the men's individual time trial, the kilo event. But, you know, China went into these games expecting a very big medal haul, and look what they've managed to achieve on day one. Of the 5 gold medals up for grabs so far, they've won 2 of them. But the home crowd won't be disappointed, because the women's C5 individual pursuit, they have athletes racing off for both the bronze and the gold medal, and then for the men's individual B pursuit, they have...
Ladies and gentlemen, the victory ceremony.
Here we go to the victory ceremony for the men's individual time trial.
C3 1 kilometre time trial. Please welcome your medalists. Medals will be presented by Mr. Joachim Gauck, President of the Federal Republic of Germany, accompanied by Mr. Greg Hottle, Vice President of the International Paralympic Committee. Bronze medalist, Representing Germany, Tobias Graph. Silver medalist, representing Great Britain, Mark Colball.
So a great moment for the home crowd here. Celebrating the victory of Mark Lee Colburn, who...
Gold medalist.
Sorry, celebrating the
Paralympic
achievement.
Champion.
Rather.
Representing the People's Republic of China, Song Xinyi. Ladies and gentlemen, as is customary, will those who are able please stand for the national anthem of the People's Republic of China. Ladies and gentlemen, your Paralympic medalists.
There and well, they absolutely love it, don't they? It was the German athlete Tobias Graph who came in with the bronze medal. The smiles were huge, and so you can hear there a little bit of the administration that's going on at the cycling velodrome in front of that capacity crowd of 6,000 people there this afternoon. So we do have another 3 gold medals to be decided In this next race, as I said earlier, I am declaring an absolute personal interest with Sue Power from Canberra, from the Vikings Club, racing for the gold medal. Sue is a gritty racer, an exceptional road racer. I've got to say, I can't wait to see how she goes next week. But I've raced with her in Canberra, in the Canberra Tour specifically, and gee, she was a great teammate and just a lovely person to be around as well. And I'm so pleased to see her doing extraordinarily well. So she's guaranteed to finish with a medal here, be it gold or silver. But before we get to Sue's race, we have Alexander Green racing for bronze against Marie-Claude Molnar from Canada. So this is going to be very interesting to watch indeed. So here we are as the setup gets underway. So the women's individual C4 pursuit. So this is day one of a total of 4 days of track cycling here in London 2012. So Alexandra Green, who's racing for the bronze medal here, other sports she's been involved in include rowing, but she's from Sydney in New South Wales. Her coach is Tom Scalander and Michael Popplewell also. She only began cycling in 2010, and here she is racing off for a bronze medal at London 2012. And a lot riding on this, literally and figuratively, of course, because everyone wants to come away for a medal. If you get this far, you want that medal. But her competitor, Marie-Claude Molnar, who you can see on your screen there, well, she is a very experienced cyclist. She's done extremely well at World Championship level, particularly on the track. She's finished in the medal tally in the last, 3 years at World Championship level on the track. She's also done extremely well on the road as well, competing in a total of 4 events across the track and the road at the London 2012 Games. Cyclists are clipped in, ready to go. So this is C4 category. So, how is this going to play out? So yet again we see that Molnar is off to a sluggish start in comparison. Alexandra Green from Australia, she is the reigning world champion of the individual C4 pursuit. She won this event in LA, and in Italy last year she was the bronze medalist. She's certainly going to want to come away with a medal from this. She does have the upper hand at the moment. She's growing a slight advantage over Molnar. Molnar's based in Quebec. Her club is Team Quebec. She only debuted for her country in 2009, but she's featured heavily in the top standings at the World Championships over the last 4 years since she started her international career. So that is Alexandra Green. You can see on your screen the Australian, looking as though she's opened up a substantial lead, 2.805 seconds. That is a very, very handy lead at this stage of the race. However, we're not quite at the halfway mark just yet. This race being an extreme test of endurance, and tell you what, this is going to give Alexandra Green a very, very big surge. She can now see, I'm quite certain she will be able to see her competitor before she turns the corner. So He may even end up catching her. This is extraordinary. Look at this ride from Alexandra Green. This is sensational from the Australian. She's really building up such a substantial lead, and barring any catastrophe, she should be coming home with this bronze medal today. And what a great start to her cycling program. 4 events that she's competing in at London this year. So Alex Green coming up to the 2K mark, so 1 kilometre to go. This will give us the best idea of how things are travelling. But look, it looks as though she has got a big lead on Mona. We actually didn't get the split difference there, but we'll see if we can get it this time around. Looking very, very good indeed. She's still making up more ground, and she'll literally be, this is why it's called the individual pursuit, because you are trying to pursue or catch the rider who started on the exact opposite side of the track to you. But look at this. Geez, Alexandra Green, what a ride from her. Okay, so we've only got about a lap and a half to go. Alexandra Green, you'd have to think this is an unassailable lead now. So pushing. The burn will be absolutely gut-wrenching right now. She's not thinking about that. She's hoping the crowd is going to get her home. And check this out. She only began in 2010, and here she is, coming home with a bronze medal. And the Australian contingent there, very, very happy indeed. But the Australian contingent is just about to get a whole lot more excited, because Sue Powell from Canberra is racing for the gold medal against Megan Fisher from the United States. So we'll have to see whose support crew rather, is louder and more enthusiastic. So Alexandra Green coming away with the bronze medal. She'll be extremely happy. The smile says it all. That's fantastic. So really such a short international career that she's had, and here she is medaling. But so first of 4 events for her. But now all eyes turn to Sue Powell and Megan Fisher. And we're away. A clean start for both. No wobbles there, and they're off. Sue Powell setting the world record earlier today. Let's see how much energy she's spent and whether she can get up there again to take the gold medal this afternoon. This is the women's individual C4 pursuit. If you're just joining us, you are watching Paralympic Sport TV. Very, very busy and exciting day at the velodrome here. We had the qualifying rounds of this category this morning. Sue Powell appears to have the early advantage, but not by much. They both got away to an excellent start, these 2 women. So this is the 3rd gold medal of 5 being decided today. So we'll have one more women's individual pursuit after this, and then the men are racing. Jeez, there's not much in it at the moment. Goodness me. 5/100ths of a second. So nothing like the last race where we saw Alex Green dominating and in the end opening up a 7-second lead and winning. I don't think we're going to see that here. Megan Fisher has the early advantage, but not by much. Only about half a second or so. But I do know that all Sue's friends and family and her cycling club members back in Canberra will be watching this with nerves and exhilaration. And sometimes a little bit of trepidation as well, because when you want someone to win so badly, it can be very difficult to watch. But come on, Sue. Okay, let's get a better update of how things are going. Geez, this is a this is the closest we've seen all day, really, because we had the qualifying rounds this morning and a number of riders were lapped in those qualifying rounds, and there really wasn't a huge sort of one-on-one competition, but this is quite extraordinary, and this is what it's all about. Close racing, good racing, hard racing. Sue Powell has now inched in front, but only just. This is amazing. The changing leads almost every lap. It sounds like the crowd is a little split. They're not really sure who to cheer from, but there is a strong US contingent and a strong Australian contingent. Sue Powell has opened up a little bit more of a lead, still only 0.3 of a second or so not a lot. But can she build on this? She is building on this. 0.4 of a second. 1 kilometre to go. Let's get another update. No, there's not much in it at all. She's not really managing to extend that lead, but she's not losing any ground either. So 0.4 of a second, almost half a second in front. Remember that Sue had a fantastic ride this morning, setting that world record, and you've just got to make sure that you've still got some left in the tank, but you also need to make sure that you've ridden fast enough to qualify for the gold medal ride-off. So really it's kind of all or nothing, but then when you back up again in the afternoon after an endurance event like this, it's very, very challenging indeed. So Sue Powell, lovely position on her bike. She's now opened up that lead to a second, but still got 2.5 laps to go. All right, what can be done here? Sue Powell, 1.329 seconds, so that would almost be a comfortable lead with a lap to go, but one can't take anything for granted. We just can't be sure. What has Megan Fisher got in her? Has she got any kick left in her legs? Can she do it? Sue Powell's done it. She's done it. 4:05.200. So just a bit outside her world record. Doesn't matter. She's got the gold medal. Well, there are going to be so many people happy for her. Both here in London, back in her hometown of Canberra. A really good ride by Megan Fisher. There was nothing in it until about 3 laps to go, and then all of a sudden Sue just could seem to hold her off and then build that lead ever so slightly, but it was by no means a comfortable win in the end. This was the closest individual pursuit we've seen of the day, as I mentioned earlier. Some of the heats this morning, there were riders that were lapped. Not the case at all in this final. It was neck and neck. In fact, Megan Fisher got the better start of the two. Then Sue Powell took the lead. Then it was back to Megan Fisher, then Sue Powell again. And Sue just managed to build her lead ever so slightly, but it just wasn't a hugely comfortable race. It was a tight one. In many ways makes the victory all the sweeter. Oh, what a wonderful result. A little bit emotional. She would have wanted that gold medal, and now she's got it. That's what she would have wanted this morning. It's always a question when you ride so well in the morning over an endurance event like this, what you've got left in the tank for the afternoon, but she certainly had it. So, moving on. Whipping through these events, it's a packed schedule here, and we've got the women's individual C5 pursuit. That is, of course, unless they decide to nip into a ceremony, award ceremony. It looks as though the media is setting up there. Just to break up the events a little bit. A bit hard for the cyclists that are waiting to compete next, though, just waiting that little bit longer. So you can see there, I'm not sure how well you can hear it at home, but the presenter at the track there saying that Australia and China are essentially in the middle of the velodrome there. They have their warm-up areas next to each other, and then wondering whether the success was rubbing off on the two teams. But so China already winning the very first two track cycling gold medals of London 2012 to be awarded have gone to China. Then Australia has picked up a third medal, but we still have another two to decide this afternoon. One women's and one men's gold medal. So we are going to a victory ceremony now. The women's individual pursuit.
The medals will be presented by Sir Craig Reading, CBE, board member of LOCOM, accompanied by Mr. Chris Holmes, MBE, Director, Paralympic Integration. Bronze medalist, representing the United States of America, Alison Jones. Silver medalist, representing Australia, Simone Kennedy. Gold medalist and Paralympic champion, representing the People's Republic of China, Song Jin-yi. Ladies and gentlemen, as is customary, will those who are able please stand for the national anthem of the People's Republic of China. Ladies and gentlemen, your Paralympic medalists.
The next medalist to be revealed. So we have the deciding races of the women's individual C5 pursuit, the finals. There is going to be a home crowd favourite as well, racing for the gold medal. Sarah Story, who set a world record this morning in this morning's session over this distance. She's racing for gold against the Polish cyclist Anna Arkowska. But first up will be Fiona Southhorn from New Zealand racing against Crystal Lane from Great Britain. So there'll be a fair bit of excitement about that as well. So Great Britain, or GB as we're calling them, could come away with 2 medals from these next finals. And then of course after that we have the men's individual B pursuit. So that is the final race of the day, or the final decider, I guess you'd say, the finals, if you want to put it that way. Running to a pretty tight schedule here, doing very well. The women's individual C5 pursuit due to start at 4:31 p.m. You can see on the clock over there, it's currently 4:27 p.m. So here we go, as expected, a huge roar for these GB athletes that are about to start racing. So we do have the bronze medal ride-off first, as I mentioned, Fiona Southhorn and Crystal Lane first, but then Sarah Story, one of the most successful Paralympians in Great Britain's history. Sarah Story, of course, a swimmer first. Now an amazing cyclist and very popular, and she's been part of a lot of the media coverage in the lead up to these games as well. Got a very high profile. See her picture all around the place, lots of interviews on television, online. She's keeping a blog which you can see through the Paralympics website if you're interested. So no surprises there. Crystal Lane getting a very, very warm reception as she lines up to race for the bronze medal in the women's individual C5 pursuit. This is the finals. So this, then the gold medal ride-off as well, featuring Sarah Story. And not a great start there for Crystal Lane. You see she wobbled quite a bit to the side, but look, it doesn't matter anywhere near as much as it does in the time trial to get a good start, because you do have that bit more time to build up your speed, and really the important part of this race is the back end of it, to see whether you can sustain your speed in as the burn sets in. But you can see Crystal Lane really well off the pace there, because she had a bit of a dodgy start there. She pretty much rolled out sideways out of the blocks. She'll be playing off the crowd as well, that energy. Doesn't matter if it's not all for you. And still go as fast as possible. Using that energy from the stadium is really quite deafening in there. It's cut the deficit in half already, so about 0.4 of a second. Crystal Lane is behind Fiona Southorn. You can see both coaches urging their athletes on. Cutting it ever so slightly. So Crystal Lane now just shaving off every lap, just shaving off a few hundredths of a second. Appears to have dropped back just slightly after that one though. This is what we love to see in the finals, is nice close racing. Each rider pursuing each other. Crystal Lane now dropping off ever so slightly, just under a second behind Fiona Southorn. Now just over a second. So Fiona Southorn's having the ride of her life here. She's gaining ground every half lap. Every update that we're getting now, she's gaining ground. Now almost, it's 1.745 seconds in front. So she's, once you get up to sort of the 2-second lead, with around 500 metres to go, you'd have to start to feel pretty comfortable. Still though, there's a little bit of this race left to play out. Can she use the crowd? Can Crystal Lane use the crowd to her advantage and give her that extra impetus she needs? No, she's looking well off the pace now. It's looking as though it's going to be Fiona Southorn's day. Still a kilometre left to go though. So stroking the pedals through, having an efficient action is what's needed here, and this is going to give Fiona Southorn a huge boost. She's going to be able to see Crystal Lane and think, I've got her, I've absolutely got her, and instead of thinking about easing off, it makes you even more excited to know that you're not that far off the pace and that the medal is within your grasp, and she's going to want to finish strong and keep Crystal Lane in her sights, if not make up even more ground, have the chance of passing her. But I just don't think that's going to be possible. We've only got 500 metres left to go. There may not be quite enough time, but look at her go. Fiona Southorn, the Kiwi, is having the ride of her life. You can now see her down the straight, but can she catch on this last lap? Can she do it? And she's ever so close, a half a lap to go. The crowd has gone absolutely wild. This is amazing. It's fantastic. Great atmosphere, considering it's the GB rider who was well off the pace, and the crowd is just so generous in their praise and applause, and also cheering on for Crystal Lane, who's now finished 4th overall in this competition, which is a fantastic result, although it will be disappointing for her to finish just outside the medals. However, Fiona Southorn, what a fantastic race. So 3:55. Sarah Story's world record now is 3 minutes 32. So that gives you and understanding. I mean, we saw Fiona Southorn racing just then. She looked incredible, so smooth, so efficient, and just sort of purring around the track. But she is 23 seconds slower than Sarah Story. So that gives you an indication of just how talented Sarah Story is and how dominant she is in this sport. But Anna Haukowska, the Polish rider, she had a great morning this morning, so she'll be feeling quite buoyant coming into this. And just because the crowd isn't necessarily all cheering for you doesn't mean you're not drawing off that energy and drawing off that atmosphere and enjoying performing on a stage. It does lift you to the next level. And let's see, sometimes it's also a bit of a blessing being the underdog going into a final like this in terms of being able to manage the nerves. In the end, Australia has taken the first gold medal available to both countries in a final at these games. Great Britain will be looking to level that gold medal with Sarah Story. That is a sleek-looking bike. Anna Haukowska. Sarah Story is going to mount the all-black machine, double disc wheels. Sarah Story, of course, also races against able-bodied athletes as well, and has just had such an amazing Paralympic career. Anna Haukowska's not happy. Something's the bike's just not quite balanced properly in the starting blocks there. Just helping the officials to get it to adjust just quite right. You've got to remember that these the track it's about a 12-degree angle there where they've set up the bike, so it's quite easily to tip it off sideways if you're not in the starting blocks properly. So it's important to get it right so you get the best start possible. You really don't want to be losing your line, as we saw in that last race, straight out of the blocks. You just want an easy, fresh, clean start, not to be dragged back. Crowd obeying the command to be quiet. Good start for both the athletes, although Sarah Story looked a little slower out of the blocks there, but they both managed to keep their line, so no huge dramas there. And let's see how early on, let's see how things pan out over the next kilometre or so. Wow, okay. So Sarah Story, by the clock, 1.5 seconds up. Early days yet. But look, this is amazing. Sarah Story has the experience, she has the mind, the body, the crowd, everything on her side. Such a successful Paralympian, and here she is, almost making it look too easy. Look at this now. It's not going to be long before she can see Haukowska in front of her, and let's just see how much she wants to exert her dominance over this sport, and whether she's going to go and be able to catch her and overtake her and lap her, essentially, in the individual pursuit. Look at this. This has happened much, much earlier than I'd anticipated, perhaps much earlier than others anticipated as well. I would have thought that we would have been a little closer at this point, but not so. Sarah Story is going to overtake Anna Haukowska, and that is disappointing for Anna Haukowska, but she can take solace in the fact that she is being beaten by one of the absolute best of all time. The crowd absolutely loves it. So a victory lap. So we didn't see that in the earlier stages today. So in the qualifying rounds, in able-bodied individual pursuit racing, normally if you lap your competitor, then the race is over, but that didn't happen earlier today in the qualifying rounds. They still managed to keep racing. But not so here in the gold medal final. The crowd absolutely loves it today. This is such a fantastic way to celebrate the opening day of competition at the London 2012 Games. One of the country's favourite, most successful athletes is here, winning gold, and she already set a world record earlier today. So